If Selena could see how her family, mostly her father, has been treating Chris since she died, child, she would be rolling around in her grave. It's your girl, the Thick Rider Chick. Last day of vacay. I'm once again trying to get someone kind of cute. Unfortunately, we got rained on. But let me just get to the nitty the fruity, the goody. Get to the nitty gritty of this particular post. So last week, I got a chance to wrap up season 2. Oh yes, and like I said, I am doing makeup, so it's not a makeup tutorial by far. I'm here with you all to discuss season 2 of Selena, the Netflix series, and my mans. Are we gonna sit here and call it Oscar-worthy, just knock them dead, Goodwill Hunting, Game of Thrones type writing and performing? No, it's a biopic. In short, it's a biopic television show. It's based on the life of a young lady, the bomb ass Tejano pop star Selena Perez, and if you watch the movie or read a book about her or anything like that, or were a fan when she was alive, then you know what happened. So this more so wasn't to unveil some big mysterious ending. We all know what happens in the end. Like, I think it was more so for a chance for the fans to go in a little bit deeper than we did in the film, because a 2-hour film as opposed to a 2-season, 8 to 10 episode television show, it's just a lot more you can do. Because at first I was like, y'all let that baby rest in peace. The movie was done so well, did we really need a show? But honestly, the show turned out okay. Me personally, not gonna lie, I did not think the person that they picked to be Selena or Chris were nearly as good looking as the actual people. Or I guess because J-Lo and whoever played Chris did so good and their chemistry was so great in the 1997 film, I just feel like it can't be touched. Like, what is the saying? Don't bring sand to the beach, some stuff like that. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But 25 years later, it's a good way to reintroduce new, younger fans or potential fans to Selena and her music. And also, for all of us that maybe only got a little teensy-weensy, we only know like 3 of her songs, or 3 or 4, 5 of the songs from the movie, it introduced us to new songs. So, I did a podcast on season 1. Now I'm just going to do a quick video on season 2 and my thoughts on it. I'm just going to try to be brief. Because, I don't know if this show was supposed to put her father in a good light. It did not. To me, and these are just my opinions, where y'all come on here with your tirades and your tyrants and your this is my YouTube. These are my opinions. And to me, it wasn't a good look for Abraham. Like, I know he was involved in the show, because you can't even hum Selena without him trying to sue you. Like, to me, in life and even in death, I won't say she was a product. She was definitely his daughter. He is definitely a father. However, he very much so was in control of her career. He was a very controlling person. And if this show was supposed to make it seem like he was not, I could tell by the way they would humdrum the dramatic music up and the certain camera angles they would use and the cutaways they would use on Yolanda, that they were very much so trying to villainize her. Well, she was the villain. But, was she the only villain in Selena's life? You'll have to forgive me if I don't think so. The fact that she felt she had to sneak and get married as an adult, because 20 and 21, as young as it may be, and I would not recommend marriage that young, it's still adulthood. And it's like, what was bananas in pajamas to me is AB went and got somebody pregnant. Our producer, went and got somebody pregnant. They weren't married. If you saw season 1, then he goes back and marries her and has another baby, and nobody bats an eyelash. Suzette got a whole boo, Bill. But for some reason, Selena dating Chris we have to sneak around like children. It's almost like they encourage and praise the other relationships, but for some reason her relationship with Chris was just a no-go. And I know what you're thinking. Well, Chris was rock and roll. Chris wasn't a good image for the band. You know, I honestly think it don't matter who Selena would have wanted to date. The fact that she wanted to have a life outside of that band was going to be a problem for Abraham. It really was going to be a problem for all of them because it put on display how much they depended on her. She was literally the bread and butter for 15, 16 different people. Like, we can replace a drummer, but you can't replace Selena and Selena Eos Dios. You know what I'm saying? Forgive me if I say it wrong. But it was too much pressure on that baby. And I really feel, look, somebody left a comment on another Selena review that said, I'm going to post it. I'm going to put like a cutaway of it. But if he had spent as much time, pretty much it was like, if he had spent as much time hovering over Yolanda like he did Chris and Selena, she might still be here today. And that's harsh as fuck. It's harsh. But is it a lie though? Do it be facts though? Like, even when they got married and did their own thing, we gotta live next door. It was like, no matter what, he still had to have some kind of control. I don't think he didn't want her to marry Chris because Chris was some bad rocker. That may have been part of it. But even if it would have been some other famous Tejano singer, I still feel like the idea that she might choose something over music, if she gets pregnant, what we gonna do? You know, if she sits out and stops performing for 9 months, they knew she would make a fabulous mother. So if she decides to focus on motherhood and step away from the group, what us gonna do? They were way dependent on her. Not they. It was mostly Abraham. What I loved about Selena is that even at a young age, I think she was popping other things to prepare for that day. Like, I want to do, I love that she had so many other things she wanted to do outside of music. And it's like whenever she tried to do anything that wasn't music, here come Abraham. You can't do it. It's a lot more than you can handle. It's like they really wanted that band to be her life. And when she tried to have a life outside the band, it was a problem. We can't even be grown and get our own house. We got to live right next door. And I don't think it was because of no look. Okay, remember they was at the table and she was about to tell him, look, daddy, we don't want the house next door. And here he go gaslighting the shit out of her with that little manipulation sob story about when I couldn't give you guys a home, it broke my heart. Baby, you might well go. If there was a football team called the Manipulations, he would be the captain, because that's all that was. I wish she would have put her foot down a little bit harder, but she didn't. I admit there were a few moments I got a little teary-eyed this season. The part, I don't know why, maybe it's just the black girl in me, but the part where they met Beyonce, like where Beyonce met her. And at first I was like, who is this girl? Like, who is that? And then it was like, Beyonce, I don't know why, I just maybe jump a little bit, because it's like, And when she was talking about, getting her birth control taken out and starting a family, it's just heartbreaking to think that she could have had these things and was a sweet, good person and deserved these things. You know what I'm saying? Had found someone to love. When she was talking about how she chose work over love. Like, I really think they gave it a more human appeal than the movie, just because it was longer, But, to see that she was a dog mommy, even though I hate dogs, but I thought that was kind of sweet. And just, it put a more human side to her. But if it was supposed to make Abraham and the family look good, it did not. Like, I just think the poor girl was not allowed to have a life of her own. And to be perfectly honest, I know that old girl was not. I just wanted them to follow their first instinct because they're so big on family. I think big on family is AKA cheap. It seems like they just didn't want to hire anybody. So we using Yolanda to do this, then, the third because she's kind of cool. It's too, y'all good. Like, I get it. We want family. We want people we can trust. But now you're overworking Selena. She's at a place in her career where she desperately needs an assistant and ain't one. So now we got to call this psycho who just made a fan club president on their own and call her to handle, like, she ain't got nobody business degree. Her background is a nurse. Why was she handling that stuff anyway? You feel mean? Like, why was she in control of that anyhow? Yolanda don't know shit about opening no boutique, running no business, but because y'all didn't want to hire nobody, try to keep it in the family, try to just be cheap, now she's closer than she should have been. And after we found out what was good, why didn't we press charges? I get it. Selena was young and she was sweet. She wanted people to believe the best in everybody. And I'm not saying that was a bad thing. I think it's part of her charm. But 21, 22, 23 is young. And if ever he wanted to be a father, that's when he should have been. Keeping her forget you're not my employee. No, we're pressing charges. How about that? Had she been put in jail the first go round, maybe we wouldn't have got to the opportunity. And she was still calling. She was blowing up Selena's phone like some fanboy. What, Abraham, if for some, let's change these numbers. Why is she still able to get in contact with Selena? You know what I'm saying? Like, the Selena young, she don't want to be rude. You know how, how it can be, especially for women. It's like, you don't want to be rude. You don't want to hurt my feelings. But if ever there was a time for him to put down his iron foot, he didn't have no problem whatsoever throwing Chris' ass on the side of the road and giving him the $20 and telling him to go to hell. But you're not my employee, but you can't come on campus anymore. Or you can't come on the premises anymore. That's it. The fact that she could still call Selena, like, we should have, it's so many ways this could have been avoided. Now, while Selena decided it was a good idea to meet with someone crazy alone, I don't know. Whatever it is Yolanda had, she could have kept, like, for real. Like, we'll get more perfume samples. We don't need that, like, for real. And my thing is, she's such a sweet person. Can we say naive? Like, if she's my 23-year-old little sister, and she, we can't just pass it over because she's gone. She was naive. She was young and naive. And she was a sweet person who believed the best in people, because I'm not meeting up with nobody that we didn't had to put practically a restraining order on. We not meeting in private for nothing. And then you talking about you got raped. If she didn't lie about everything else, even after y'all found the receipts, and she said, even when I'm talking about the fan club, everybody in the fan club lying except Yolanda. Everybody lying. The little boy lying. Everybody lying. And Selena just being who she is, believing the best in people. They're lying. They're lying. All the fans is lying. These kids is lying on you. She was what we would call a habitual, bald-faced, narcissistic liar. But they prey on people like Selena. They prey on sweet people who believe the best, who, even though it's right there in your face, I still believe there's good in you. And those type of people prey on folks like that. As soon as she called her talking about, I've been raped, why haven't you called the cops? Of all the friends and family that you have, of all the people you know, why am I, Selena, the only person that can help you? You feel me? And so it was good, I liked her going to the Grammys. I liked all that. I feel like, I don't know if they wanted the series to be done with season 2, but honestly, it could have been stretched out further. Like, even if they didn't want to go into details, they just kind of faded away to the hotel. And we understood what happened. We could have went into what happened during the trial. What happened after. We could have went into when she tried to get probation, or when she tried to get good, when she tried to get her sentence shortened. We could have went into those things instead of just going from her death and a montage to the Cumbia Kings. It's like, oh, she died, but here's what we're doing now, and that's it. Stretch it out, baby. Get the bang for your buck, because people are watching because they want to know. So, do I think they kind of bypassed the opportunity to get possibly a third season? Yes. Maybe they still gonna do it. I don't know what they would do it on, because we just kind of skipped, over, and just was like, hey, you guys, here's what we're doing now. We could have went into detail about the little stand. She stayed in her car like several hours, I believe, before she finally gave herself up. That could have been an episode. Just her going back and forth with the police. So I don't know. I don't know the deal, but But if the goal was more seasons, I feel like we could have stretched that dough out a little bit thinner and got something. And if the writers are good enough, it could have been something of quality, not just no, junk. Not like 4 episodes of Hunter Card, but It's just, I just felt like, I think, I'm going to say something, and if it's rude, forgive me. It's towards the end of the video, so I don't even know if y'all still watching anyway. But I think, honestly, the beef with Yolanda, I think the real beef was with Yolanda was who was going to control Selena. I think Abraham really did not care for her because she wanted to control Selena, and so did he. Because Chris, he could control. Because why? Chris is in his band. Technically, he works for him. Chris lives next door to him. Yolanda is kind of doing her own thing. And I think both of them were just trying to control her in their own weird way. Of course, Yolanda's was way more extreme. But both were just like, that baby just really never got to be free. And I am so glad that she ran off and got married and did at least one thing in this world she wanted to do before she moved on. And I really wish that all these people that were trying so hard to control her would have been in her ear that day. Like, me personally, I'm like practically best friends with my oldest sister. I would have called her and been like, yo, like if I had a crazy dude, he was trying to meet me, but he stayed for a good reason or whatever. Yo, so-and-so wants to meet. Like, I would call. Why didn't any of them come with her? Why didn't she tell any of them that she was going to meet? Like, I just had so many questions, and it's like everybody had their 2 cents to put in on everything else except the fact that Yolanda was still in contact with her and able to reach her and all this jazz. It's like everybody has something to say about everything else, but not too much about that. I don't know. I just feel like she wasn't as protected as she could have been, and that it was so much pressure for her because she was the bread and butter for several people. And Abraham, I'm not saying Abraham was no bad daddy. Am I saying he was controlling and tried to run things and did not let Selena be a person like he did his other children? I'm most definitely saying that. So that's all I got. I might put a final look. I'm just doing a little contouring right now. But I'm finna go chill in St. Padre and South Padre. And God bless.